So lesson 86 is division of polynomials. A polynomial is just an expression that has more than one term. So we're going to start off with this one. We're going to start off with negative 2x squared plus 3x cubed plus 5x plus 50. And they're going to ask you, this is a polynomial because it has 4 different terms. They're going to ask you to divide that by negative 3 plus x. So when you divide polynomials, it's the same as doing long division. So if you've forgotten long division, you might want to brush up on that before we do this. But I will show you how to do this. The first step is we have to write each polynomial in the descending powers of the variable. That's just a lot of words. That means we have to look at the variable, which is the letters. Which are the letters? We have an x squared, an x cubed, and an x. And in this polynomial, we just have an x. We have to remember that a simple x is the same as x to the 1. So before we can do the problem, we need to rewrite this polynomial with the highest exponent of a variable first. And what I mean is, when we look at x squared, x cubed, and x to the first, x cubed 3 has the highest number for the exponent. So we're going to write this term first, and be careful to remember to look at the sign before that term so we can rewrite it correctly. So we write 3x cubed. The next one, the next exponent, the next largest exponent is a 2. So looking at the sign before it, we're going to write minus 2x squared. Very careful to watch those signs. The next largest exponent is a 1. X, like here, is just the same as x to the 1. So we're going to look at the sign. It's a plus. We're going to write plus 5x, and then we still have the 50 on the end. We're going to need to rearrange this polynomial too. We're going to need to put the x first, and then watching the sign before the 3, we're going to say x minus 3. So now we're going to do some long division. We're going to put this polynomial, the one that is going to be divided by, underneath a division sign. And we're going to write it just like we just did, with descending order of variables, meaning the x cubed has to come first, then the next largest one, then the next one, and then the one that doesn't even have a variable after it. We're going to divide this by x minus 3. The first thing we do is we're going to take a look at just this 3x cubed. We're not even going to worry about the whole rest of this polynomial right now. And we're only going to look at this x right here. So we're only thinking in our heads, what do I need to multiply x by? What do I need to multiply x by to get 3x cubed? That's all we're looking at. It's as if we're covering these things up. X multiplied by 3x squared would give us 3x cubed. So we're going to go ahead and write the 3x squared right on top of the 3x cubed. Now we're going to multiply 3x squared by x minus 3 and write the answer right below here. So 3x squared times x minus 3. In your head, you can imagine that you're doing the distributive property. We're going to multiply this first and then this, and watch the signs. So 3x cubed times x would be 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. And now we multiply this times this, watching the signs, that gives us a minus 9x squared. And we write it right below there. Now we're going to draw a line, and just like in long division, at this point you subtract. So we are going to subtract negative 2x squared. We're just going to subtract this x squared line right now. We have negative 2x squared minus 9x squared. Be very careful to watch the sign. It's as if we're saying minus 2 minus a negative 9. This is where a lot of people make mistakes, because that is a lot of signs to keep track of, but just do it carefully. Minus 2 minus negative 9 is the same thing as positive 7. So negative 2x squared minus 9x squared gives us a plus x squared. Now we look at this. 3x cubed minus 3x cubed is just 0, so we don't have to put anything down here. Now, just as in long division, we are going to bring down this next term of this polynomial. We're going to bring down the plus 5x. And now we're going to look at just the x and just the 7x squared. And we're going to think in our heads, x times what equals 7x squared? Well, it is 7x. So we're going to put, oh, and it's a positive 7x. So we're going to put a plus 7x right on top. And then we're going to multiply 7x times x minus 3. 7x times x minus 3. 7x times x is 7x squared. 7x times minus 3 is negative 21x. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to subtract. We have plus 5x minus a negative 21. So it's a plus 5 minus a negative 21. Be really careful to watch the signs. We can see that 5 minus a negative 21 is 26. So we would write 26x. 7x squared minus 7x squared is just 0, so that's all we need to do with that. We have one more term to bring down, and that's the plus 50. So now we're just going to look at this x again and this 26x, and we're going to think, what do we multiply x by to get 26x? We multiply it by 26. So on the top, we write positive 26. Now we're thinking 26 times x minus 3. 26 times x minus 3. 26x. 26 times minus 3 gives us a negative 78. And we're going to subtract one more time. And we get plus 50 minus a negative 78. Plus 50 minus a negative 78, which gives us 128. Now what do we do with that? We have no other terms to bring down, but we can't just leave it here. It's as if we have a remainder of 128. Well, what you do with this last term is you make a fraction out of it, and you put this as the numerator and this as the denominator. So we're going to go ahead and add 128 over x minus 3. So the answer to negative 2x squared plus 3x cubed plus 5x plus 50 divided by negative 3 plus x, that's what we did here. The answer is this right here. It's 3x squared plus 7x plus 26 plus 128 over x minus 3. There's one more thing I need to show you when we divide polynomials, is we have to remember that that first step is to rearrange the polynomials in order of descending variable. However, there's sometimes when there might be something missing, and let me show you what I mean. If it says to divide negative 4 plus x cubed by negative 3 plus x, well, we need to rewrite these. First step is to rewrite them in order of descending variable. This one only has one. It only has an x cubed. So we're going to write that first. It's starting with the positive. So we're going to write an x cubed. We cannot jump all the way to a negative 4 though. We have to somehow indicate x cubed, x to the second, and x1, or just x. So here's how we do that. We're going to add a 0x cubed to make sure that the x cubed maintains its place. But if we multiply it by 0, it just equals 0. So it doesn't change the value of this expression. So then we would also write a 0 to the x, or 0 times x. Now we have x cubed, x squared, and x to the 1 all accounted for. And now we can put on the end the minus 4. Okay? So in here, we can just put the x first and subtract the 3. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That polynomial now can go under our division sign, and this can now go in front of the division sign. first step is to just look at the x cubed and just look at the x. What do we multiply x by to get x cubed? We multiply that by x squared. So we put the x squared on top. And now we're thinking in our head, x squared times x minus 3. X squared times x minus 3. That gives us x cubed minus 3x squared. Now we subtract this polynomial from that one. We have 0 minus a negative 3. 0 minus a negative 3. That equals positive 3, because when you subtract a negative, you get a positive. I guarantee you, some of you might miss this if you're not very careful, to remember to write down this subtraction sign and look at these signs. If you just make sure you train yourself to look at the sign before it, you'll avoid a lot of headaches. So 0x squared minus negative 3x squared equals 3x squared. And x cubed minus x cubed is nothing, so we can just leave that there. Now we're going to bring down the plus 0x. We're going to look at this term, 3x squared, and this x, and we're going to think to ourselves, what do we multiply x by to get 3x squared? Well, we multiply it by 3x. So we put the 3x plus 3x on top of our division sign, and now we multiply 3x by x minus 3. And that gives us 3x squared. 3x times negative 3 is minus 9x. Remember, write the negative sign and think in your head, 0x minus a negative 9x gives us 0x plus 9x, which gives us 9x. These two cancel out. We have one more thing to add, to bring down, and that's the minus 4. Now we're thinking, just looking at this part, we're thinking, what do we multiply x by to get 9x? Well, we multiply it by a 9. So we put a plus 9 up here, and we multiply 9 times x minus 3, which gives us 9x minus 27. Remember to put in that negative sign. And we have minus 4 minus a negative 27, which is the same as negative 4 plus 27, which gives us a 23. Now at the end, when we have no more numbers to bring down, we turn this and this into a fraction. This is a positive 23. So we're going to say then 23 goes in the numerator, and the denominator is x minus 3. So negative 4 plus x cubed divided by negative 3 plus x equals this right here. It equals x squared plus 3x plus 9 plus 23 over x minus 3.